We can't predict the future, and it might be my age and stage of life, but I think the life we've been served over the past 6 years seems to be the craziest in my living memory. COVID, terror attacks, natural disasters, the manosphere. Hey, welcome to Empty Money Karma, where you can find freedom from the daily grind through budgeting, simple living, and adventure. Today, I'm just going to take you guys through just some random videos of my life, but I really wanted to talk about something that I think is really important, and it's the absolute unpredictability of the future. And for me, that's something I find very motivating. And if I'm honest, I kind of find it a little bit fun. I know that's very weird, but it's obviously because I don't have enough stress going on in my general life that I kind of enjoy creating a little bit for myself. And for me, this motivation that I have, this unpredictability which I see all around us, makes me constantly have to hone my frugal weirdo skills. And one area of unpredictability that we have is our government. And I know many people are hanging on for dear life until November, hoping for a change, and that somehow this will solve the problems in New Zealand, our rising unemployment, the cost of living. I don't know what to call it now, not a crisis when it just goes on and on and on, is it? It's just like a new way of life. But that's probably not going to change your life. And I recognize that systemically how this is true, that policy can change people's opportunities and outcomes and what have you. But it's not going to change everyday life. So I wanted to talk to you guys about 3 things we do as a family, kind of to future-proof our life and our finances against this unpredictability that we have in the world. The first one is perhaps the easiest to do. The second one requires a lot of willpower. And the third one I actually personally find incredibly hard. And that might be a personality thing. I might put out my 3 things that we do to future-proof our life. And you think, oh, actually, number 3, that's really easy for me. It's the other ones that are hard. So we're all different. This is just what we do. This is not a mindset / self-help kind of a video. I'm not really big on the buzzwords, and I am going to address the entire kind of blurb that's all around scarcity mindset. The YouTube bot that sends me feedback about my videos tells me that my introductions are way too long, and I have chosen to ignore that, but I will get on with the first thing that we do as a family to future-proof our life and our finances against this unpredictability that we live in or amongst, and that's to figure out our values and align all our decisions with these. And for us, that wasn't like one big radical change, but it's been a slow evolution of creating a life that aligns with our family's values, one tweak at a time. And here's the thing, some of those changes are hard and continue to be hard. But the friction isn't created for us by something being hard. That's not our problem. That's never been our problem. It's when you do things that don't align with your values. So when I live a way that doesn't align with my values, I feel bothered by that. So I don't mind that it's hard to, make crackers or light the fire or forage wood. That for me is fun. These are my hobbies. Someone asked in a video, I think it was the last one, how do you pay for your hobbies? And it's like, kind of my life is my hobby. I do have a little bit of extra money, but this is kind of what I spend my days doing. So it takes a lot of time to live simply, but that's one of my values. So that's what I enjoy doing. And when I do that, I go to sleep at night with a happy heart and a still head. When I don't do those things, it's the opposite way around. I have a heavy feeling in my heart and my mind won't rest. So that's the first thing. We look at what our values are and then align our decisions. And when we're choosing to do something or not do something, we literally go, okay, what are our values? And we say them out loud. And then we say, does this align with one of those values? And if it really doesn't align with any of them, then for us, that's a very easy way to make a decision and say no. If it does align, we're like, what are our priorities at the moment and all those kinds of things. But that's the first thing we do. So figure out your values and then align decisions with those. The next thing we do is look at all the controllables in our life and control them. There are so many things that you cannot control, right? And I understand that. But there are some things that you can. And for us, those things were housing, finances, and food. So those are the things we've focused on controlling. And for us, the reason why we've focused on those three things is that seems like the source of life. If you've got a roof over your head, you've got food in your tummy, and you've got a bit of money, because honestly, without money, there are a lot of things you actually cannot do or cannot provide. That's just the reality of our modern world, hey? So those are the things that we've focused on controlling. When we looked at housing, I can say we're only buying what we needed, and we paid it off as quickly as we could. Now, this wasn't our intention when we started. So don't think for a second I always had these ideas. No, I didn't. This was like an epiphany. One day I just realized it and I was like, oh my goodness, we better blimmin' start paying off this house, So we did that. That was not the house that we're currently in. That was 2 houses before this is when I had the idea. So when we came to buy our next house, we knew we were paying cash. So we bought only what we needed. And then we're schooling the next generation on this. So our kids are learning about how to buy something in cash. And whilst that might not be entirely possible, I don't know, that will obviously require some family help. I don't know if we will be able to pull that off. But if they could take the next leap and not have a mortgage, then that would be an amazing thing for our family, I think. And for us, often people would say to us, because we're youngish, not young, but, I'm almost 50 and we haven't had a mortgage for 10 years. And people will say, aren't you going to take the next step? Because I think people would look at us and think, you've got one more step to take and then your family's in Fendleton or Maryvale. Those are kind of posh suburbs where I live. So that is possible. It's totally possible for us. But we don't want to do that. The cost is too high for us. It would drain all our savings, all in pursuit of a better postcode, without any kind of better standard of living. We wouldn't be closer to the things we like or need. We wouldn't be any more comfortable because we do live in a comfortable house already. But we would have a fancier address, and the kind of address where people might say, you finally made it. But at what cost? So we choose to control that and not to be controlled by advertising or even by peer pressure. A commitment to growing our own, trying to step outside of the supermarket system by bulk buying at wholesale prices. That's another one of our values. I'm not sure I'll ever realise my dream with this one, but I'm going to keep trying. I think for meat, if I could source home kill and get a half a beast each year, that would be a good solution. I just don't have the contacts here. Before we moved, that's what we used to do every year. So I need to maybe investigate that. I guess each year it's about trying to get better and better, isn't it? And this for me is one of my friction points. I talked about that in what our values are. Like, it's not my value to go to Pack and Save and necessarily buy what I'm buying, but it's sort of how I feel modern life has steered me. And I don't know that I have the capability to do something different, completely. I can't just overhaul my whole family. And that is a real friction point for me because I want to. But I have other people involved in my life. Not every idea I have does the rest of my family go, yeah, great, love to get on board with that. No, they don't. The third controllable is finances. Now, you do control your money. To an extent, you control where you earn it, and you fully control where you spend. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of that. And I know that might be triggering, or I said I wasn't going to use a buzzword, but there you go, there's one slipped in. That might annoy people when they hear that, but that is what I truly believe. You are choosing every time you spend $1, you're kind of casting a vote towards what you like or don't like, or what you value or what you don't value. So I think vote with your money. Somehow the world has convinced us that being careful with money has been embarrassing. That it's a scarcity mindset. And I told you I was going to talk about this. So, a scarcity mindset. This is something that advertising has come up with, and it's how big corporations make their money from us. It's not an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset, or good versus bad. It's just simple reality. A little like the Emperor's New Clothes. Like, you can be told that the economy is great, or that you should be spending money, or you should be doing this or that. But you know what you know. And don't be shamed for saving for a rainy day. That's sensible and it's prudent. So we could reframe it and just be like, financial buffers are super cool. And if you look through history, just at different times, we can see that at one point in history, when a government or a country wants you to spend money, they make changes to the country to push you to spend money. Then at other times, they don't want you to spend money, so they make things harder so you don't spend money. Now, these aren't our controllables, but it is controllable as to whether or not you actually spend the money. Just because the government makes it easier for money to be spent in the economy through financial either incentives or the official cash rate, it doesn't mean you actually have to spend it. What if the goal was to hold on to it rather than get rid of it? That for me is, I guess, one of the easiest things to do. And I think I'm kind of lucky in this way because I am a natural saver rather than a natural spender. And the last thing we do to future proof our lives is to build a community. Your family, neighbours, and friends are the ones that will help you and you them. Little kindnesses, sharing excess daily, means that whilst politicians and leaders can't manage to get along with people who don't share every idea and value with them, we can. I actually don't care who my neighbours vote for. I don't know their history, and I'm certainly not going to exclude people from my life because they're different to me. I think it's hard to build community, especially as you get older, and when you move as well, I think that also makes it really hard. Sometimes I feel exhausted by this process and just want to retreat into my own little bubble, but I know that's not helpful for me or my community. So I do continue to box on, even on days when I really don't feel like it. I put my pride into producing and creating and working with what I've got. No one can take that away. It's never about the money for me. It's always about freedom and independence. I'd love to know what you guys' thoughts are on those topics. If you have any other work-ons, if you're still here at the end of the video, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate every person who leaves a comment, likes or subscribes. I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.